She's definitely walking a fine line right now. She doesn't want to, ruffle feathers with the Trump administration. She wants to, be more cooperative than she has in the past.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. I'm Mark Edwards, and I'm joined by Washington Examiner breaking news reporter David Zimmerman, and we'll be talking about Mayor Muriel Bowser, the takeover of Washington, D.C., and what her rhetoric's been like and how it's changed over the years. So, David, thanks for joining us. I really want to start with just a breakdown. You wrote an article on this of kind of the history of this relationship between Mayor Bowser and the Trump administration. So starting from the first Trump administration, how would you characterize the relationship, how they interacted in the past?
Yeah, I would say Bowser's relationship with Trump was very adversarial. They didn't really cooperate all that much. Like back in summer of 2020, Bowser wanted Trump to remove the increased federal law enforcement presence in the district, remove the military from the city in response to the racial protests that summer 5 years ago.
We want the military, we want troops from out of state out of Washington, D.C.
She came out forcefully against the law enforcement presence back then, and Trump didn't necessarily bite with her request.
What's your making of how the mayor has been balancing trying to keep a good relationship with the White House, keep control of the city, protect the city's autonomy versus trying to represent her constituents, who, of course, D.C.'s a mostly Democratic city.
Yeah, she's definitely walking a fine line right now. She doesn't want to, ruffle feathers with the Trump administration. She wants to, be more cooperative than she has in the past, and she's signaled this even after Trump won the election last November. She met with Trump shortly after he won the election, and just to kind of talk about their shared vision for the city and what they can work on together to keep DC safe and improve public safety.
Do you think the crime numbers matter? Do you think that it can be misleading to look at the numbers currently compared to last year? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think the data that Democrats often cite, they often say oh, DC has seen a 30-year low in violent crime. Their talking point is misleading because not all crimes are reported, and the Metropolitan Police Department doesn't tally all those crimes in their system. So I think the data that Democrats are citing are misleading in that way. The DC Police Union has alleged that the police department has falsified crime data as well. So there's that issue.
The feelings of crime and perceptions of crime are sometimes different than seeing numbers go down. And we've seen numbers go down, let me be clear. Over the last 2 years, we have reached a 30-year low in violent crime.
It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse.
District of Columbia Council has been less strong on crime compared to Bowser. If there's to be substantive change, something needs to shift the DC Council. And I think, going back to Bowser for a bit, so I think she looked at that and she wanted to be more, strong on crime, not as soft as the DC Council maybe. If you go back to 2023 when Biden was still in office, she did veto a District of Columbia Council bill that did reduce penalties for carjacking and other certain other crimes, and she was eventually overridden, but Biden stepped in and vetoed that and kind of stepped in federally.
Now moving to like the mobilization of multiple federal agencies.
The right to control the local policing of our city sits with the mayor and the chief of police, notwithstanding the government, the president, and the attorney general's efforts to suggest that they had taken control of our police force and put somebody in to run our police force.
Have you seen any reporting on the how effective the increased police presence has been, or people's general responses? Do people feel safer about that?
Yeah, I think generally it's creating a more safe environment in the district, but not every district resident is pleased with the increased law enforcement presence, especially in downtown DC. There's an ICE checkpoint near U Street.
Yeah, right there on 14th. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems definitely a bit unnecessary. Just some things been reading online.
We're no different than any other city. I think the federal government has no business interjecting themselves in local and district government.
I feel Bowser, she's trying to protect her job because Trump is telling her, saying that she can't run D.C.
What's your take on what Muriel Bowser has to do to kind of protect her own position of power?
Yeah, I'd say, as you mentioned, she has an election next year to worry about. She hasn't yet announced if she is running for a fourth term yet. I suppose she will, but only time will tell. But currently, she may face some opposition from Democratic council members, especially a past candidate that she faced, Robert White. He may oppose her again. Of course, he lost the 2022 election to her. And then there's possibly another candidate to rise up. She hasn't expressed interest yet, but Janice Lewis George could potentially enter the race, and some reports out there have compared her to Zohran Mamdani in New York City, because she's a democratic socialist, and she represents more progressive interests compared to Bowser, who's not as far left as she is.
Well, thank you for joining us on today's deep dive. You can read more of David's stories at WashingtonExaminer.com. I'm Mark Edwards. Thanks for joining us.